You're listening to episode 99 of the Nichole Banks Podcast, Bad Advice We've All Heard Post-Divorce and Why We Should Ignore It. Welcome to the Nichole Banks Podcast, where divorced women heal, grow, and find new love and dare to begin thriving. I'm Nichole, your divorce recovery coach and happy hour queen. If you're a Gen Xer ready to shake things up, level up, and have some fun, you're in the right place. Buckle up. We're getting into today's episode starting now. Well, hello, ladies. Welcome back to the Nichole Banks Podcast. I am your twice divorced, happily in love divorce coach, here to guide you through the emotional roller coaster of healing, heartache, and happiness post-divorce. Now, listen, for those that are healing and dealing with heartache right now, I promise you, happiness is the next H in this category, okay? Because it will come. Today's episode is really going to be one for the books. We are diving into all the bad, and I mean really bad advice we've heard post-divorce and why we should just kind of laugh it off. So grab that spiked lemonade, yes, even if it's 11 a.m. in the morning, because we're about to spill the tea on the cliches and serve up some real sassy advice instead. Let's get into it, shall we? Just put yourself out there. How many times have we heard this one? Now listen, if I had $1 for every time someone told me, just put yourself out there, I'd be sipping mojitos in Italy right now. But what does that even mean? Am I supposed to stand on a corner with a sign that says recently divorced, slightly cynical, but still hopeful? Ladies, putting yourself out there is not a solution. In fact, when you have just had your heart ripped out or shattered into a million pieces and handed back to you with a side of paperwork, the last thing you need to do is throw yourself into the dating world like a contestant on Survivor Tinder edition. The real advice, take your time, heal, discover who you are outside of that relationship. Putting yourself out there, sure. But only when you are ready, emotionally, mentally, and yes, even physically. And trust me, you'll know when that time comes. It's when you've stopped rolling your eyes at every love song on the radio. It's when you feel good about being able to be on your own. It's when you're capable of loving yourself before anything else. The second bad advice, the old classic, you'll meet someone when you least expect it. Let me just paint you this picture. I'm at a grocery store wearing my old college sweatshirt. My hair is in a messy, sassy bun. I've got my glasses on because my contacts are dry. I'm looking like I just crawled out of a Netflix binge session. Do I at least expect to meet the love of my life while I'm debating between what two creamer brands I want to buy? Absolutely. Did it happen? Nope. This advice is like waiting for a unicorn to show up at your door with a pizza and a six-pack. Sounds magical, but also slightly delusional. The real advice, don't sit around waiting for some cosmic love surprise to show up in aisle 5. Focus on doing things you love, things that fill your cup. Maybe you'll meet someone at a pottery class, or maybe you'll just walk away with a really funky vase. Either way, you're winning. Understanding when you're going through a divorce and you're healing, it is about you and you only until you're ready. This one drives me crazy. You're too picky. Yeah, bad advice. You're too picky. Excuse me, Karen. Being picky is how I avoid marrying a walking red flag again. You're allowed to be picky. If you need permission to be picky, here's your sign. You have permission to be picky. This isn't a clearance sale where you just grab the first thing off the rack. Ooh, that's cute. Ooh. Don't know if that's going to fit, but it's on sale. I don't know if that's going to fit, but it's on sale. Grabbing it anyway. It's already in the cart. As a matter of fact, guess what? There's two, right? There's a green one and a yellow one. Let's grab them both. Though those colors don't look good on you, you have no idea if it's going to fit, but it's in your cart. And guess what you ended up doing? You bought it anyway. Why? Because you think that's the thing to do. You're just being too picky. You've done that already. And look where it's got us. Now you're out here collecting wisdom, not emotional baggage. The truth is, being selective is a form of self-care. And when you know your worth, you're not settling for anyone who doesn't align with your values or treat you like the queen you are. You're building a throne, not a folding chair, ladies. I will say this. The real advice is this. Standards are not the enemy. It's not about being picky. It's about being intentional. Get clear on what you want in a relationship and don't be afraid to say no to anyone who can't meet you at your level. And yes, this means we avoid all those it's complicated situationships, right? You're with me on that? Okay. I used to get really irritated with my sister because she was like, oh my gosh, there's got to be a guy out there for you. Oh, I'm sure there's a million of them. And there were. Okay, maybe not a million. That's a little exaggeration. But there were quite a few guys that would invite me out on dates and we would have fun. But you know what? A fun guy and a fun date doesn't mean that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with him. I was looking for something very particular. And I found it. And I love it. I think everybody should have what I have. I'm not kidding. It's supportive. It's fun. It's witty. It's smart. I'm being challenged mentally, emotionally, physically sometimes too, if you know what I'm talking about. Huh? It's your life. You have permission to get picky, to be selective. If he is not it, if you think, oh, there's a couple things that I just don't like about him, okay, move on. He's not the one. Because one of the things that we definitely do as women, we will settle. Okay, so there's a couple of things. It's not that bad. But guess what? Those things that drive you crazy in the beginning will end up separating you. Trust me when I say that. So the real advice, of course, is what? It's not about being picky. It's about being intentional. I love that. I hope that really sinks in, ladies. I do. If you need help with that, I do have a chapter in my book that's coming. You can read it then. I promise you. All right. Time heals all wounds. Okay, I'm calling BS on this one. Time doesn't heal all wounds, especially if you spend that time stuffing your feelings like they're holiday leftovers. If you ignore the pain, it just festers and pops up later when you're trying to enjoy the perfectly glass of good wine. And trust me when I say this, I have been here. I know what this feels like. It's not fun. It's like the rut, right? You get up, maybe you shower, maybe you haven't showered for days. You go downstairs, you look in the refrigerator. Is the milk good? Is it not good? I just need creamer for my coffee. You grab the cup of coffee. You're watching Good Morning America. Before long, it's The View, right? And now you're into a daytime talk show. And now the soaps are on. And before you know it, the evening news has hit. You've done nothing. You've done nothing. I have been there. I have cried the 3 a.m. cries. I have eaten the sorbet. I have ripped up the photos. I have punched the pillow. The time is a factor, sure. Okay, so let's get to the real advice. But it's what you do with that time that matters. We want to use it to process your emotions, to work on yourself, and maybe even pick up a new hobby. It's not just waiting for the time to go by. Tick tock, right? And if you're in that stuck rut now, I highly recommend that you make a date with someone, a girlfriend, a neighbor, a family member, a coworker. Call someone up today and say, I need to get out of the house. I'm willing to do anything, and just go. Dirty hair and all, just go. Get out. Okay? And I think that it's not about just waiting and allowing time to go by. It's about growing, healing intentionally, not passively. There's a huge difference. I want you guys to know that. The difference is huge. I've experienced both. So I share this with you because if I can cut your healing time in half, holla. This is what this podcast is all about. All right. You need to find closure. Oh, the elusive closure that everyone is obsessed with. Newsflash. Closure isn't some magical key you find under your ex's doormat. Sometimes the best closure is realizing you don't actually need it from someone else. Now, if you follow along, you know that 2 episodes ago, there is an actual closure podcast episode. I actually will look this up real quick. Bear with me here. It is episode 97. So 2 episodes ago. Stop chasing closure, why it's so important for healing. I want you guys to go and listen to that episode if you need closure, if you continue to chase closure. Your closure might look like packing up their old stuff, journaling about your feelings, or my personal favorite, taking yourself on a fabulous solo vacation. The spoiler alert here is you don't need an apology or a neat little ending to move on. Your growth and healing, that's your closure. Now, I'm not going to lie. I am that girl that took herself on a fabulous solo vacation. Yes, I went to Italy and loved every minute of it. I had several moments of emotional breakdown. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't easy to do, but I did it anyway. First and foremost, I'm not a fan of flying. So there's that. So it's a long flight to Europe. And I had to delay all the things. I had to do it on my own. And guess who did it? I did, because I'm back, right? I mean, if not, I would have been stuck at the Phoenix airport. But I'm back. You with me on this? Okay. The next emotional meltdown was at dinner one night. I think it was my second dinner. And the first night I was so tired and jet lagged and all the things. I was trying to get on their schedule. I really just ate whatever was available. I just I don't even remember really sitting to eat. I just grabbed something and ate it, and on my way to my hotel, and then I just crashed for the night. But the next night I made a beautiful reservation for this amazing restaurant that I had been tipped off to. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking around the room. And of course, guess what you see? You see couples in love, and you see, romantic gestures, and you see all the things. And I, behind my menu, had some tears fall. But you know what? I sucked it up and I put my menu back down and I wiped my face and I went, look at what I'm looking at. You're going to see it everywhere. So you might as well just enjoy it while you're in Italy. And I saw the amazing food come out, and I heard the amazing music, and I drank the amazing wine. And I sat for a moment in gratitude that I was able to take myself on this solo vacation and really soak it in. I, at one point, looked across the table, and there was an empty chair, and that could have been him, but he fucked up. So there you have it. The real advice here is stop waiting for someone else to give you peace. Create it for yourself, whether that means writing a goodbye letter that you never send. And I always recommend this one. I always recommend writing anything down, writing it to that person without sending it. In my women's retreats, we do several burns, and I love it. It's where we write about the things that are bothering us, the things that were never said to us, the apologies to ourselves, all those things. There's a sequence that we do, and it's so releasing. It is so freeing and so giving. It is so powerful. But you can do something very similar to that too. Write a letter to that person. Write the goodbye. Write the things that you've never been able to say. So if you listen to podcast episode 97, it's about talking about the circle of, here you think you're going to have this big conversation for the apology that you never get, the closure that you never get, because we're not prepared for what they're going to say. And then what they say ends up being this vicious circle of, wait, now I've got more questions, right? So you can simply decide that today is the day you start your new chapter. Closure happens to be a what? A you thing. That's right. I said it. A you thing. I love that one. I also want to talk about this bad advice. Just focus on the kids. I mean, I love my kids, but let me tell you something. Using them as a reason to avoid dealing with your own emotions, huge, big mistake. Just because you're a mom doesn't mean you stop being a human with needs, desires, and feelings. Yes, your kids are important, but so are you. This advice always makes me laugh because it's like, oh, right, I forgot my kids are the only thing I'm allowed to care about now that I'm divorced. Newsflash, your kids need you to be happy and healthy mentally, emotionally, and yes, physically. You cannot pour from an empty cup, ladies. You cannot pour from an empty cup. The real advice, prioritizing yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. Yes, love your kids fiercely, but always remember to love you, because a thriving, happy, emotionally healthy mom is the best gift you can give them. Trust me, they'll thank you later. Okay, this one's tricky. Do you really need to forgive your ex to move on? The short answer is no. Forgiveness can be a powerful thing, but it's not a requirement to live your best post-divorce life. You don't owe forgiveness to anyone, especially not someone who hurt you deeply. Forgiveness is for you, not for them. And guess what? You can move on without ever saying, I forgive you out loud. Maybe your version of forgiveness looks like letting go of the bitterness or finally deleting their number from your phone. You don't need to hand out pardons like you're Oprah. You get forgiveness. You get forgiveness. No. Real advice, forgiveness is personal. If it helps you heal, great. If not, that's okay too. Focus on letting go of what's holding you back, whether it's anger, resentment, or the need for closure. Do what works for you, not what someone else tells you is necessary. All right, my lovely listeners, that is a wrap for today's episode. Kind of stupid advice, right? Dumb advice. Now listen, if you've given this advice, suck it up, Buttercup. We're not mad at you. We only want you to stop giving this advice to divorced women. We totally debunked some of the worst post advice out there. And I hope you're feeling empowered to ignore the cliches, trust your own instincts, and remember, this is your journey. The journey is absolutely 100% yours. Okay, this one is insane to me, and I've heard it so many times when I was single. You'll find someone better. All right, I know this one sounds sweet on the surface, but let's be real here. When someone says, oh, honey, don't worry, you'll find someone better, it kind of feels like they're handing you a consolation prize. Like, sorry about the wreckage of your last relationship, but here's a shiny new one coming your way. Yeah, no thank you. I don't need a replacement, man, like I'm trading in my old car for a newer model. Here's the tea. You don't need to focus on finding someone better. You need to focus on becoming your best. A better relationship isn't going to fix anything or everything. It's the work you do on yourself that changes the game. So let's stop making finding someone better the goal and start making being your best self the priority. Trust me, the rest follows. So the real advice, the goal isn't to upgrade your ex. It's to upgrade what? That's right, yourself. Take the time to heal, reflect, and rediscover who you are outside of that relationship. The next person you bring into your life will be a reflection of the work you've done. You deserve someone who matches the amazing person you're becoming, not just someone better than your ex. If you get to navigate it however you see fit, bad advice, be damned. But before we go, a quick reminder to check out my Boundaries 101 course. If you're ready to start protecting your energy, time, and relationships, you totally deserve to set those boundaries, and I'm here to help you do it. As always, I'll be back next week with more real talk, laughs, and a healthy dose of sass. Until then, dare to begin. I'll see you next time. That's a wrap for today's episode. I hope you're feeling as refreshed as a spiked lemonade on a hot day. If you love what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and spread the love. Want to go deeper? Check out my courses, women's retreats, and the Dare to Begin membership, where we put everything we've learned into action. NicholeBanks.com. Don't forget, I spell my name with an H. NicholeBanks.com. Until next time, keep leveling up and dare to begin.